Okay, good afternoon, sisters. I wanted to talk about post-traumatic stress syndrome. This video I'm doing as a private live stream, and then I'm going to upload it just because I wanted to test this strategy out right now. But I was talking with a friend earlier about post-traumatic stress syndrome in Black women, and it really, really is a thing that sisters are dealing with, and many know that they're stressed, but many don't know that they're experiencing stress as a result of several things that could have already happened to them and things that are currently traumatizing them. But then, we can easily identify when something is stressing us out, traumatizing us, perhaps uh, in the present sense, but not so much looking back at how things affect us in a post traumatic way. Things that we're responding to, sort of like a delayed reaction. So I just wanted to go over this topic with sisters. It seems like some of my more urgent videos are having copyright issues. It's just an inconvenience. And one of them is the video I posted about HIV. The other one I posted a while ago about the violence that sisters are experiencing from rejecting Black males. Um, Black males want us to quote unquote choose better, but as sisters go through life and realize that they want to choose better and that they need to choose better, many of them are not being given the opportunity to without being um, killed or have some act of violence committed upon them, or just dealing with a lot of stress and depression and, as I said, PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. And so I wanted to go over just some of the symptoms of PTSD, and many of you probably can relate to these symptoms, because surely, if you are a Black woman, and most of you are that are listening to me, you probably have been dealing with some form of trauma. Unfortunately, it seems to go with the territory, which is why I would like for sisters to leave Blackistan ASAP. While many think that it can be done easily, others may find it very difficult to separate themselves from Blackistan. And I think even if you leave Blackistan, you still have the problem of dealing with PTSD from Blackistan. And we certainly don't want our sisters suffering and struggling unnecessarily from PTSD. So let's look at it real quick. When you come over here to verywellmind.com, you often find that you're going to see that they're talking about, I like the way they simplified the symptoms. So let's read it. It's an overview of the symptoms and treatments for post-traumatic stress. So this is a good overview. I read several sites to get a condensed, a good one that would be condensed for doing a video on. All right, I'm going to jump right down here to the bold print where it says symptoms. PTSD symptoms are divided into 4 separate clusters, including number 1, re-experiencing. Re-experiencing or reliving the traumatic event includes these symptoms: frequently having upsetting thoughts or memories about a traumatic event, and then having recurrent nightmares, and then acting or feeling as though the traumatic event were happening again, sometimes called a flashback. Having strong feelings of distress when reminded of the traumatic event is another part of that. Being physically responsive, such as experiencing a surge in your heart rate or sweating when reminded of the traumatic event. Okay? that's the first overview of the symptom re-experiencing, and many many of us sisters have been talking about leaving Blackistan behind, because as long as you're in Blackistan, you're going to re-experience on a daily basis all sorts of stressors, and these symptoms will just continue. You know, if anybody has experienced the re-experiencing, this is number one. Feel free to talk about it in the comment section, because this is something that's going to help other sisters. I frequently have upsetting thoughts or memories about traumatic things related to black males. I think that what's going on is that black males continue to traumatize black women and the black community through their uh, hate, slander, dogma, bashing, disrespect, abuse, killings, murders, silencing, uh, lying, denying, and just so many other things. So it's just something that's got to be dealt with by black women. Okay. Avoidance, number two, is another one. Avoidance. And this one, I like to do these articles because sometimes I need to tell you to do the exact opposite of what they're saying. This one is number two, one of the symptoms of PTSD, avoidance. Actively avoiding people, places, or situations that remind you of the traumatic event includes these symptoms. Making an effort to avoid thoughts, feelings, or conversations about the traumatic event. Making an effort to avoid places or people that remind you of the traumatic event. Making sure you're too busy to have time to think about the traumatic event. Avoidance is good in this case. If you have PTSD and one of the ways it's showing up in terms of you're avoiding Blackistan and black males, that's good, because that's going to help preserve your life and your livelihood. You can't make changes in Blackistan, black women. You actually do need to avoid it. The people, the places, and the situations, you must do this. So, yeah, if that's what they want to call one of the symptoms of PTSD, we embrace it fully. Now, there are symptoms that we don't want, like in number one, you don't want to have a surge in your heart rate and sweating and things like that, but you definitely want to have number two, through and through, avoid it. Number three, hyperarousal, feeling keyed up or on edge, known as hyperarousal, includes these symptoms: having a difficult time falling asleep or staying asleep, feeling irritable or having outbursts of anger, having difficulty concentrating, feeling constantly on guard or like dangers lurking around every corner, and being jumpy or easily startled. This sounds like a lot of black males when they're in school or prison or gangs or rap music or whatever. This is how they are. The erratic behavior that they carry with them shows their PTSD. Many black women tend to, it's a little more low key in black women, but if you're experiencing any of these symptoms, hyperarousal, please flee Blackistan and everything that comes with it as soon as you can. Organize your life, save your money, and get out. Number four, negative thoughts and beliefs. Thoughts and feelings about yourself and others may become negative and can include these symptoms. Now, I do not want sisters thinking negatively about yourselves or about other black women. If possible. Of course, we know we have handmaidens, mammies, and all kind of other sisters who do not support black women and girls. However, addressing the negativity in them is necessary so sisters can wake up. You do need to see the negativity in black males and black culture. You need to see it so that you can stop having hope in something that will not give you reciprocity or any kind of healthy return on your involvement with it. So it says having a difficult time remembering important parts of the traumatic event. a loss of interest in important, once positive activities, feeling distant from others, experiencing difficulties having positive feelings such as happiness or love, feeling as though your life may be cut short. Now, a lot of number 4 has to do with things that black males do in the black community. In other words, a loss of interest in important, once positive activities. A lot of most people in every race enjoy things that happen that they can do culturally. Well, if you're a black woman or girl, you really can't enjoy a lot of things in your culture anymore. It's hard to have a positive attitude about those things because many of those things are against black women and girls. The movies, the music, the overall environment. I talk about this often. That just in general, the culture has become so negative, mainly because of black males, that black women should lose interest in those things. We recognize that those things are no longer important to us. Feeling distant from others, you should be feeling distant from black culture in Blackistan. You should. So these are good PTSD symptoms. When it comes down to happiness or love, would love it if you sisters continue to be able to love yourselves, love other sisters, and love those who love you. It's as simple as that. So these are the 4 overall symptoms. And basically they're saying it says you don't need to have all of these symptoms. In fact, rarely does a person with PTSD experience all of the symptoms listed above. So you see what I mean? Basically, you only need a certain number of these symptoms from each cluster. And they give you a list of things: learning how to cope, finding healthy ways to manage your emotions, learning how to cope with unpleasant thoughts and memories, managing sleep problems, being able to identify and cope with PTSD triggers, managing flashbacks and disassociation. One of the reasons why I continue to do videos for sisters is to help sisters cope and manage, to learn and to find healthy, positive ways to deal with the issues that we have. You all have a community here on my channel, both of my channels, that allows you to communicate, connect, vent, share, and so on. So that is one way of helping to cope in a positive way with the issues that deal with PTSD. PTSD it can last indefinitely in your life. Okay, if you're just temporarily dealing with something like 2-3 months, I think I've read that you have to have at least 3 months of these kind of issues, which we know that many of these issues are long-lasting because of the need and the desire to disassociate with black males in Blackistan. And that is good, because the longer you live in the reality that you need to stay disassociated with black males in Blackistan, you will make better choices and be less tempted to be associated with the problems that come along with black males in Blackistan. I say flee, sisters. Sisters, I want you to flee Blackistan ASAP. I support you in doing that. I want you to as you do it, I want you to, be conscious of the stress that comes with it. Be conscious of when you're dealing with stress that is associated with your past, present, or future dealings with Blackistan. Sometimes you have to go back in Blackistan because you have reasons to do that. Unfinished business, family members, whatever, property. it could be a wide variety of things. And so my article pretty much came from this. You've seen both articles. And the image that I used for the thumbnail came from this article from Ebony. Study finds disadvantaged black women suffer from PTSD. And certainly it's not just disadvantaged black women. I don't know why a lot of articles always speak on the quote-unquote disadvantaged black people, black women specifically. But our concerns are with all of our sisters, okay, across the different classes and statuses, no matter whether they're considered disadvantaged or advantaged. Because we obviously know that when it comes to black women suffering, there is really I just don't see how there's such a thing as a disadvantaged black woman when it comes to PTSD. I think even your wealthiest celebrities, entertainers, politicians, members of the clergy, hell, YouTubers, all of us, we are dealing with the disadvantages that have been dished at us. And so this study tells you that 29% of 72 African American study participants have post-traumatic stress syndrome. It goes on to tell you about abuse, that you know, PTSD is potentially debilitating anxiety disorder that may develop after exposure to a shocking, scary, or dangerous event. I mean, come on, how many black women do we know we're always dealing with something shocking or scary, as long as we have to deal with the it counterparts. And they're pretty much saying, clinical psychologists are saying that express that living in an environment of poverty and violence can worsen pre-existing depression, trigger the onset of a new depressive episode, PTSD, or subthreshold PTSD, meaning a number of symptoms characterizing PTSD are present. And it says all of those conditions were found in the study participants, causing researchers to believe that there is a serious need for more mental health services and screenings in poor neighborhoods. And that's just obviously to talk about the poor, but it's middle class and upper class communities. Wherever there's black women and there's black males, surely there is a serious need for mental health services and screenings. What you should realize by now is that Blackistan is, for me, it's in my humble opinion, is not about strictly poverty. It is when it comes to black women, Blackistan has to do with the dominant culture that black men have created, and the oppressive nature of relationships that go along with dealing with them. That's what I think Blackistan is, and that can be poor, middle class, and upper class. Okay, there's a certain type of oppression that comes along with it. This is a great blog here, Escaping Blackistan Step by Step. I think sisters should definitely check this out. I'm not going to go over it right now, but I will post a link for sisters to check it out, because she's giving you really good advice on how to get out of there. Number one, she says you don't need a black card or street cred card to be proud. She's basically saying just get the hell out of there. Who cares about what black people think anyway? If they're not going to love black women and girls, they don't matter. Number two, get as far away from inner city areas as possible. Number three, don't have children out of wedlock. Number four, get your education. Number five, get your money right. There seems to be a repeat. She's talking about start a side business if you can. Cut off anything and anyone that drains your funds. Stop pretending that trash on the radio is your culture. I love that. And number seven, that you socialize. And finally, be prepared. She said those zombies will find you, and when they do, you must remember to stand your ground and aim for the brain. They will come at you with lies, guilt trips, and every emotional and psychological chain that they can find. Do not blindly accept it as true. Question it and dismiss it as a lie. A zombie is anyone or anything that tries to convince you that what you're doing to improve your life is wrong. Remember that they are not going to go through the pain of poor health, lack of family support, and constant ridicule. You will, and you are the only person who has the power to change your life. No one will do it for you. And there's a little quote that says, believe nothing, no matter where you read it or who said it, no matter if I have said it, unless it agrees with your own reason and your own common sense. Buddha. That's fantastic. And on that note, I am going to bid you sisters a good day. I will definitely be back with more live streams and live chats. I wanted to post this on Duchess 1, the first channel. And I will see you again soon in the next video. All right, like, comment, subscribe, share. Feel free to donate and keep circulating the videos. Thanks.